Greetings and welcome to another Giving Thanks. My goodness, we've been away for some time. Thank you for the respect of my privacy during this time as we are grieving. And when I got up and I looked at the scripture challenge, I said, I have to come on and I have to share this because it's such a healing for everyone. And righteousness, there's no law for that of just doing good, being kind. That, it's just within the heart, inside, to be kind and to do good. So I come to you today in thank you so much. And the theme today of righteousness needs no laws. Thanks, James. Greetings. Thanks for joining. And during this time of grief, a lot of times people don't know what you're going through and then they just attack, right? I've been going through the loss of my children's dad. It's raining outside. And all this is, in my culture, transition for ones in the ancestral plane. So, thanks for liking the video. Yes, in my videos, I am very authentic and I sometimes cry. One of my students says, crying is good. I cry every day. But it's good to get it out. And that's part of healing when you have lost, someone. And it's been happening to me every year. So it's been not something I want to expect to happen every year. However, with our verse today and our Bible challenge and our word today, I don't know what the word today is yet, but all of this not just helps, but it boosts. It gives you a knowledge of, you're okay and you're going to be okay. Thank you for liking the video. Thank you for tuning in and for listening. As you see, I have some flowers here, and it's important to give folks their flowers while they can see them, right there. So this is for you all. These flowers are for all of you, for your support, for sharing this video, for sharing my channel, for liking the video, for tuning in. Because it's the beginning of something amazing. And this amazingness is a movement of goodness, mercy, love, kindness, patience, serenity, tranquility, kindness, love, and just mercy, compassion. It's just a list of all these wonderful attributes that we attribute to, religiosity. And I am not put in a box, like, oh, she's you're labeled. Yes, James, thank you. For bringing up the label of Christian movement. And as we look at that label, it's about not judging folks. It's about, that loving kindness and humility and humbleness. And that comes with reading, it comes with knowledge, it comes with finding out about people and finding out about, you know, animals and nature and people who are in stressed or oppressed. Thanks for listening, James. Yes, thanks for listening. I do have to mention, though, I don't call anyone and put them in a box. However, I know that we are, as you mentioned, in the States, and the ideology of white supremacy has been indoctrinated in everyone, black, white, whatever color. It's been indoctrinated, even in myself. So as I read Black history and I find out about what has happened, what had happened was I begin to become more aware and knowledgeable of myself in the movement of righteousness, not to oppress others, colonize one's brain, or take away one's joy. So I'm here to bring joy. That's what the movement is supposed to be about. Bringing joy to others. How can you do that? And in our scripture challenge, as a matter of fact, we're in the book of Galatians. Our verse today is coming from Hebrews, and we're going to get into it because, as I mentioned, I am in a private family grieving, and I really appreciate the support during this time, because it's a very, weird, hard time. My son uses the word weird. He calls me that all the time. I'm weird, but it is because my children's dad, even though we were not together anymore, we still shared our children. And that is significant in itself. So I am thankful for those who are giving me my privacy during this time and allowing my children and I to grieve in the way that we are allowed to do so. And grief is in stages. I'm not going to sit here and speak about the stages. I'm in all that, but it's in stages. So we're going to get into our verse today, because the theme of righteousness needs no laws. Hebrews chapter 12, verse 28, you can look it up. You can look it up. Hebrews 12, 28. And I already read it. I translated it into the words of righteousness. It's not been translated into gender, race, doctrines of religiosity. It's translated just in plain language. And I know that the righteousness of God hears all languages. There's no language that the Most High has not heard. So it's like, there's a song about that. Anywho, yes, James, let's get to the word. Let's get to the word. Verse of the day. Verse of the day. Verse of the day. Verse of the day. The verse of the day we start with, right? Remember our theme. Stick track with me here as we go. So Hebrews chapter 12, verse 28. Therefore, because we are receiving a place of goodness, you're going to receive good, right? My mom always says, do good and good going to come to you. So I don't know what message here is held for review. Be kind with your words. So therefore, because we are receiving a place that of righteousness, mercy, kindness, goodness, love, serenity, tranquility that cannot be shaken. All of that can't be shaken. They can try to, get people upset, take their joy, take their food stamps, take their house, take that. But you cannot take that joy because your heart, your desires are not attached to the things of the world. So let that go. And the Hebrews chapter 12, verse 28 brings this to us and says, be thankful. Be thankful. That's it. Be thankful. And revere, worship, chant, give thanks to that righteousness of righteous, whatever language you may call that, God, Lord, Jesus, Jehovah, Jireh, Selassie the first, Rastafari, however you call that one, that's your personal business. That's your personal relationship. No one should say to you, look, you have to worship this or else you're going to be da da da. No, what? No, I am going to worship the goodness that's inside here, and I'm not worshiping myself. I'm giving that acknowledgement and reverence to that's higher than myself, actually, because as Hebrews chapter 12 says, look, guess what? You're receiving this place that it can't be shaking, and let's be thankful. Yeah, thankful just to be alive, as someone is mentioning in the chat. Thankful just to be alive, and accepting this righteousness with reverence and awe. You're just like, oh, I do that, and my dog is just like, what is she? Yeah, oh, and accepting that goodness with righteousness and mercy. Yes, he's right here. He's just want to be in the cat. Oh goodness. Okay, come. This is him. Say greetings to everyone out there in YouTube land. Yes. So Hebrews chapter 12, verse 28 is right on it. Is right on it. It's like, look, you're receiving so much, be thankful and just give thanks to that's righteous, good, mercy, loving, that some people call God. So worship that. But you got to worship that in action, and you got to be about that. You can't be in your box and you're a Pentecostal and this one is a this one is a what, Methodist, and this one is a Lutheran, and this one, what? No, you do not identify yourself in those ways. Identify yourself in ways of righteousness, goodness, mercy. Those are actions that can be executed. And in creation, you see it. You see it with my dog reaching for me. You see it with the branches, blowing in the breeze. So Hebrews 12:28, I love it. Okay. Don't be shaken by what's going on. Don't be shaken by, all this oppressive. You don't have access to a door. You gotta, you don't have access to this. You don't have access to, you just, people want to put you in a box. So thank you, James. Hebrews 12:28 is our verse today. And I love that because it supports our theme today of righteousness needs no rules. There's no rules for that, for doing good. Like, let's see what the word of the day is today, y'all. Real quick, because I have to go get.
It's the word.
Let's get the word of the day. It's the word of the day. It's the word of the day. It's the word of the day. Word of the day. Word of the day. So I'm just here with my dog, and he's just laying on my lap like a lap dog, but he needs to go out, and I have to take. Thank you, James. Word of the day. Look at you. And I have to take him out, and he has to go out before I take my care of my business. Anyway, the word of the day is coming from dailyword.com. You can look it up. I'm not a rocket scientist that can find a word of the day. Everyone does this word of the day. You know, it's something that people do now. And I don't know if I started the trend. Probably not. Okay. I probably saw it somewhere. But anyway, the word of the day, it's always brought to us by scripture. So the word of the day today is brought to us by Philippians. You can look up Philippians chapter 2 verse 29. And Philippians chapter 2 verse 29 is speaking exactly what I'm talking about. Remember I said joy, don't let nobody take that away. They can take away this, and this, but they should not be able to take away your joy. Um, that's what Philippians chapter 2, verse 29 is speaking of. And my son is 29, so I don't know. This is interesting. Um, uh, be joyful, Philippians is talking about. Like in righteousness, greet and welcome ones in righteousness with all joy. So it speaks of welcome him then in the Lord with all joy. So what is the Lord but righteousness, goodness, mercy, love, kindness? Welcome all ones in that. Okay? And do it with joy. Do it with joy, Bubby. Do it with joy. Okay? I gave him a bath. I had to do it with joy. Do it with joy. So the word today is welcome. And we're going to welcome things with joy. Okay? Doing the dishes, right? Cleaning, doing laundry, vacuuming. Do these things with joy, to everything with joy, right? Because everything is working together for your good. So why not just do it with joy and be on the good train? It's stressing already when you have to fight battles of white supremacy, James. As a Black woman, this is what has happened. And I did not create this, nor did I wish this to be the case, but it is. We have systems of that. So I said to someone who is a white male, you want to date me, you have to basically read my history. I'm from the Caribbean. I'm, we are all from Africa. Okay, we all share the same. What do you mean don't start? I gotta start. This is conversations we need to have. And were we to have these conversations in the civil rights era when they threw people together in integration, if we had these conversations then, I don't think we would be in this place now of white supremacy. We would say to our white brothers and sisters, yeah, white power to you, let me be about my Black power as well, and not have this imbalance and inequality of life where one is prettier and more better accepting than a next. I am just as skilled and highly skilled, mind you, as someone else who is my counterpart. Okay, so just because we have this narrative, we have to have some counter narratives that counter that, because the Black woman is very intelligent, and just like anyone can make mistakes and say things, that we're not perfect. I'm not perfect. I may say things, I may drop a F-bomb. Okay. Greetings and thank you for joining. Thank you for liking this video, and thank you for subscribing to this channel so you can get to see more. But let's get to the word of the day. James, thank you so much for keeping me on track. Let's get the word of the day. So we welcome you with joy, okay? And let's get it. Okay, he has to get down because his birthday is tomorrow. So let's get the word of the day. Welcome. I open my heart and home with love. Okay, out the gate, love. You see, we have this word of the day is brought to us by Philippians, and Philippians talking about joy. We're going to keep our joy. I got to go take care of business out there. And, out there, some people aren't joyful, and they take it out on you, and they're mean and they're upset. They get angry, and they have this, kind of demeanor of not kind. And you have to be open your heart with love. And I'm opening my heart and my home with love to my daughter, to my son, to my family as we go through this time. This is for them. So with an open heart, I welcome and share my love with my dear ones. I create sacred space in my mind, my heart, and surroundings. I visualize connecting heart to heart with my loved ones before they arrive at my home. I communicate to righteousness, what some people call I pray. I communicate, I talk to God. I talk to the creator of my inner being, okay? And I communicate to righteousness, surrounding everyone in light, okay? Light. Through the gift of imagination, I envision a warm, beautiful gathering. My home is a welcoming space of ease and tranquility. As I prepare, I bless my home, the food, and everyone I will warmly welcome, or that will welcome me. I spend a few minutes in the silence. Now, silence is capitalized, so it's giving it value and authority. Like it's a thing. It's a meaningful thing of importance. It's capitalized. So I spend a few minutes in silence, and I do this when I walk my dog, when I wash the dishes, when I'm cleaning the bathroom, when I'm in the shower. Those are moments of precious silence you have. Getting up in the rise. So, and I listen to the still. I just heard a car driving by, and the tires, you could hear the water from the rain as it goes by. These are important stillness. A small voice within that reminds me to trust that divine order. Trust that divine order is at work, even when things are not exactly as I imagined. Okay, like I imagine my son to be kind, but it's not happening. Okay, he's a tornado mixed with a hurricane and a lightning bolt. Okay, he just woof. And even when those things are the case, through divine love within me, okay, I have control of how I respond. Through divine love within me, I welcome my loved ones into my heart. and home. That is our word today. And thank you, Philippians, for bringing us this word. It's been brought to us today by Philippians chapter 2, verse 29. Welcome him then in the Lord with all joy. And what is that? That is goodness, mercy, love, kindness, obedience to doing good. Surah Dokhna, right? Thank you, James. It was a good word. That was the word of the day. Welcome. I love that. And for those of you who are following the Bible Challenge, we are for today, November 26th, we're in the book of Galatians. Galatians. And I wanted very much to read this because it is about the theme, righteousness needs no laws. So in the book of Galatians, chapter 1, for today, we just finished up 1st and 2nd Corinthians. And now we're in, we just finished Romans. We finished Romans, 1st Corinthians, 2nd Corinthians, and now we're in Galatians. And after Paul's first missionary journey, you remember Paul? Remember he was Saul and then he got converted to Paul. He was a slave master. He was a slave catcher. Okay, he was a racist and an oppressor, Saul. And he was always wanted to fight David, and you know what I mean? And he even got Goliath to go try to beat up. Anyway, he changed. Okay, Saul changed and became Paul and started preaching and going out there talking about one love and look, we need to be kind. You know, we don't need to be owning folks. What you doing? Anyway, they had to get rid of Paul, because they're like, we gotta own folks, we gotta colonize, and we gotta spread this baby called white supremacy around the world. We just got married, colonialists and capitalists had a big wedding. Okay, anyway, after Paul's first missionary journey, the Jerusalem Council, this was in Acts 15, reached a landmark decision in which it acknowledged that a person does not first have to become a Jew in order to become a Christian. So what did I tell y'all about these titles? Okay, there's a war going on because of these titles and trying to put people in boxes. Yeah. However, the Apostle Paul continued to struggle with those who wanted to add the requirements of Jewish law to the simple message of salvation. It is not, though, keeping the Mosaic law that salvation comes. The law enslaves. Check it out. Remember these laws? Jim Crow law. We had laws of, all kinds of laws of enslavement. Okay. Nobody was claiming white supremacy back then, James. However, they were using a different language. Okay. The languages have changed over time. Okay. Just like in Native American lands, the Choctaw, they probably spelt it a whole different way. But the colonialists, when they heard the language, they spelt it their way and named it all you know what I mean? So thank you for that comment, though. That's a good comment, and it's not disrespectful. So let's stay on the respectful side. So anyway, it is not through keeping the Mosaic law that salvation comes. The law enslaves, okay? Faith in Jesus Christ liberates. And what is Jesus Christ? Well, isn't that righteousness, mercy, kindness, not judging folks? Didn't Jesus give water to the lady who he wasn't supposed to be even talking to because she was a different whatever? Okay, yeah. So we have a lot of indoctrinations of enslavement laws that people uphold, just like Thanksgiving. I boycott that. I am not in it because it's part of that enslaving. Um, and true Christianity, true service and worship of Jesus Christ is not about that stuff. Okay, I take side here with the Jehovah Witnesses when they don't worship that kind of stuff. But yet we have liberty is not licensed to sin. Liberty is the freeness to serve righteousness. Bottom line, Galatians chapter 5, verse 13, right? Um, so that's the overview for our challenge today, for you to read that. Chapters 1 to 2, defending the gospel ministry. There's an autobiography. Chapter 3 to 4, defending the gospel's message, authority. And chapter 5 to 6, demonstrating the gospel's might, application. So we have autobiography. What's your autobiography when it comes to serving righteousness? Not even God, Lord Jesus, not even religiosity, but serving goodness, being a good person, being a kind person, holding the door for someone, um, you know, sacrificing something that you like to help someone else. In other words, you know what I mean? What are you doing? Are you just existing for yourself? So we have that autobiography, and then we have authority, defending that message. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, the Gospels, those messages of, what sacrifice really was as an example in Jesus Christ, right? So we have that authority. And then we have application. How are you applying this to your life? So let's look at your daily walk. Let's look at that. Imagine for a moment that you have been invited to witness a most unusual wedding ceremony. Okay? Imagine that. The bride and groom are there in all their finery. Okay? However, before the ceremony begins, each hands the other a contract detailing the rules of their relationship and life together. It's like a prenup, right? This is the prenup. I'm writing this. This is what I want in this relationship, right? The husband to be reads his obligations, what he's obligated to do. He says, "You must help with the dishes each evening. You must cut the lawn each Saturday. You must not soil the carpet with your muddy fishing boots." And conversely, the wife to be reads with shock and dismay, "You must cook the meals. You must keep a clean house. You must make the beds." What's the problem here? They are trying to legislate what love would otherwise cause them to do willingly. Okay, just like someone said when they got married to someone, the person said they is what 70-30. They pay 70% of the bills and the other one pays 30. I'm like, wow. So we have this monetary, and in this example, it's chores, doing chores. So what's the problem here? They are trying to legislate what love would otherwise cause them to do willingly. Now carry that illustration over into the spiritual realm. Carry that whole picture I just read into that space. A spirit-controlled person, or a person who's controlled by righteousness. When I talk about spirit, I'm talking about righteousness, because spirit can be alcohol too. It can be bad spirits too. And I don't want to invite that. I'm just going to speak righteousness. The righteousness in a person, right? The goodness in a person. A righteous controlled person, a person who's controlled by righteousness. Okay, I'm controlled by righteousness because I could have kicked somebody's ass, physically beat them down, and for telling me some crap and going off with them, right? I could physically do that, but that's not righteousness. Righteousness is being kind and using your words. You don't have to drop no F-bomb and call people out their name and degrade a person. You don't have to do that. Righteousness is lifting a person up. Just like you, James. You came in here, you was, and I was telling you what I was telling you. I'm not here to put you down and call you any racist, white, whatever. A white man said that to me who was dating my daughter. Like, am I the evil white man? No, your behavior is going to show me who you are, not your skin color, not that you're affiliated with a group that were, enslaving people that look like me. I am going to put you on your own merits, not by association. You are guilty. You show me yourself. So less like we are here to listen to the word. Okay. And so take that image, right? That illustration over to the spiritual place or the righteous space. And remember that a righteous controlled person needs no law to make him or her live a righteous life. You don't need no law to live good and to do good. That's supposed to be willingly in you, in your heart. Why? Because the motivation to do so comes from a changed heart within. Just like I got to change the oil in my car, I got to change the time on my clock. You have to change your heart, just like Saul had to change his. And what did Saul stop being? He stopped being a racist oppressor. He stopped being that. Okay? He changed his heart. Take a hard look at your walk with God. Okay? I missed my ministry class on Saturday. I was so sad. I missed my ministry class, but my pastor said, as he sent a message to me, he said, your brother in the walk. And I was like, that's so, because we're walking with righteousness. You walk with goodness. That is what that represents. When people talk about God, Lord, and Jesus, I'm looking at righteousness. And then when they show me something else, I'm like, oh, oh, Charlie, just like you see, I'm writing something now, and it's interesting because it's revealing what I'm writing is being revealed in society, what's happening. If you look at the 2020 report called The Final Cut, yeah, this is what I'm talking about, James. Look at that, 2020, The Final Cut, and you'll see what I'm talking about when I talk about white supremacy and how it's permeated into society and into the legal system and the law. The criminal justice system allows certain people to commit crimes and do things. And then we have collateral damage of people who have lost loved ones because of the white supremacy's run amok. Look at the Murdochs. That's run amok. And they were in the legal system in South Carolina. They were in the criminal justice system. They were in that system and abused it and see where that took them. So the daily walk, is telling us to remember. Take a hard look at your walk with righteousness. And that walk is characterized by a growing list of rules or a growing love relationship. Is it a growing set of rules or a love relationship? Remember, without the fruit of righteousness, you are just a religious noise. You're just a noise, right? 1 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 3-1. You're just a clanging, banging, empty barrel. Because what's on the inside is going to eventually show on the outside. Okay? You're going to be revealed. And in this report called The Final Cut on 2020, this woman who lost her life was about to reveal this other woman inequities, and because she's a white female, she was allowed to go about this. We will talk about that, James, at another episode of Giving Thanks. So send your question in. Send your question in. Yes, you be blessed. Don't be proud, because pride is a sin. But you be blessed to be white, but do not take your whiteness and oppress. Take your whiteness and be an ally, help the oppressed in this country. Use that whiteness to do that. Some white people have done that, and I call them high quality whites. I shout out to Mackenzie Scott, high quality white woman. Unlike this white woman on Final Cut, who, you know, you gotta see it. Anyway, pick one characteristic listed in Galatians chapter 5, verse 20 to 23, and pray or communicate to righteousness. Talk to the goodness and mercy that's within yourself in the silence, okay? That righteousness would cultivate that in you today, okay? Legalism is bound to produce pride of heart, okay? You just said proud. You're proud to be white, right? Pride is a sin. We don't want to produce pride of heart. Like your heart is so proudful, is so pride, you cannot, help an oppressed person or a black woman who is in a hospital having a baby. And because she's black, the nurses does not want to listen to her pain. They don't want to listen to it. But a white woman coming in, they're like, oh, come on, let me help you. Yeah, you see? This happens. And black women are losing their lives in the hospitals in the US. Their babies are losing their lives. This is happening. I did not make this up, nor do I want this to be the case. And it's not about being a victim. It's not actually being a victim. It's actually being victimized. People are being victimized. They're not victims. No way, no how are they a victim. They're being perpetuated as and victimized in hospitals. Okay, this is what's happening. And it's been happening in Maryland, the state of Maryland. There was a legalism, according to our things. Legalism is bound to produce pride of heart. They had legal sanctions where black women were used as breeders, James, as breeders on plantations where they had to be raped, impregnated, carry the child for 9 months, still working on the plantation now, and popping that baby out while they're working on the plantation, and the baby taken away and sold. So when you sit here now and talk about victimhood, ain't no victim, because we survived. We're still here. We survived that bull crap. Did I say you did that? I never said James did that. So when is that white guilt coming out that you are saying this? I never said you did that. James, you yourself did not do that, but your ancestors did. Your people who you come from did that. So you have to study, you have to learn to use your whiteness as not to oppress, but to also not to oppress or suppress, but to liberate, as Jesus Christ has done. And that's why he turned the money tables up. He said, stop this racist thing. Moses did it too. He was like, what you beating the black man up for? He's building the towers in Egypt. Moses had to was like, what's happening? Okay. So you got to look at the full picture. So what is the insight? Let's get to that, okay? I know you have a lot to say. Your message is held for review. I'm not going to read it. James, do you want to be on timeout again? What is the insight? How many fruits? Okay, how many fruits? It's likely no accident that Paul chose a singular rather than plural word for fruit in this passage. Galatians chapter 5, verse 22 to 23. Look how many twos is in there. 2, 2, 2. Galatians chapter 5. Yep. chapter 5, verse 22 to 23. These 9 Christian attributes, you talk about Christian, look, it said the Christian attributes come from one spirit, come from one righteousness, come from one, okay? And what is that one? That one is not white supremacy, okay? That one is not that. That one is liberated of people that look different because everyone is a droplet of that righteousness, goodness, mercy, and love. And we are not to oppress our brothers and sisters. That's why you had abolitionists who were white, who fought to free Black people from enslavement. Because they said, whoa, 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 whoa. The scriptures I'm reading is saying this is wrong. And wait, what you doing? Okay? Fellowship with righteousness cultivates all of them. When you fellowship with goodness, mercy, love, and kindness, guess what? You're going to cultivate that. Just like when you plant a seed and you cultivate it, if it's a banana tree, you're going to get bananas. Okay? You're not going to get oranges. When you cultivate righteousness, you're going to get that. So when you cultivate colonialism, capitalism, when you cultivate that, you're going to get white supremacy. And what's that going to be? That's no place in the kingdom, right? According to our verse today, a kingdom that cannot be shaken. Okay? A kingdom that cannot be shaken. We are receiving that place that cannot be shaken, that is free of oppression, it's free of homelessness, it's free of depression, it's free of anxiety, it's free of isolation, loneliness. It is free of poverty. And just because that, the rich doesn't have to be afraid that the poor is climbing up the ladder. They want to keep the poor in the mind, right? And say you can't have this Birkin bag because this Birkin bag is what, $50,000 Birkin bag, and they value these things in terms of money, capitalism, and you say it's good, but who is it good for? It's not good for the working people who are holding it up. One day they're gonna all realize, they're gonna be like, whoop, I dropping it. It's falling. Babylon has fallen, my friend. So I'm out of time because I got to go. Have a blessed day, everyone. And remember, you know what? Stand in love. Stand in love. Do not fall in it because, you will get hurt. Okay, this will happen, and you don't want that. Let me outro. Oops. Let's outro, and then I got to go. See you next time. Have a blessed day. Remember, stand in love, don't fall in it, and read Black history. Read about the Moors. Read about the Ethiopians and the Falashes. Read about Black history, okay? That's important. And I'll see you next time. Yes. Have a blessed day. See you next time for another Giving Thanks. We're going to rejoice. Thank you, Steel Pulse. I have to meet you, Steel Pulse. We're going to get together where I can do my word and you can be. Yes, bless. You could groove to this, James. take the world off your shoulder of white supremacy and oppression. Black man, stand strong. Do not go beat your woman up, but hold her up. Don't let the system beat you up and then you go beat your home up. Stand tall. Hold on. Don't stop. Remember, righteousness needs no laws. We're going into the book of Ephesians for next time. Take good care.